What are some harmless ways to duck with people? Carefully step over a non-existing obstacle. Do this at a crosswalk when the car's stopped too close. When driving, I like to wave at random people as if I knew them. Hilarious to see instant confusion on their faces. I used to wave at random cars if I liked the car. I pass this really nice old Chevy every day on the way to and from work. We now wave to each other every time. My friend was logged into his Twitter on my tablet, so I kept changing his profile picture to a banana. He thought someone hacked him and tweeted about it. I replied to the tweet using his profile. It got so bad he was arguing with himself on Twitter. So, oh no, I got hacked. Guess I should just post about, no point changing my password. Say high five to someone, but don't put your hand up. Now that's just evil. When you're talking to someone, just keep handing them random items. They'll just keep taking them without realizing it. I once handed someone an ice cube while passing them in the hall at work. When I was a corrections officer, we had a guy who worked with us who was kind of a dick to everyone, and he was computer illiterate. We took a screenshot of his desktop and moved all of his icons off of it so it looked legit, but nothing worked. It took him an hour before he finally called IT, and they figured it out pretty quickly. He wouldn't talk to any of us for about a week. Better still is to Photoshop one icon into the desktop wallpaper and then remove this one icon. Everything works except for one shortcut. My grandpa does this thing where he stops in the busy street and starts staring into the sky as if he's seen something amazing. It doesn't take long for other people to stop and stare too. Once he reaches critical mass, he quietly slips away chuckling to himself. One of my favorite Garfield comics is this exact game. Garfield and Odie are looking up and John sees this and joins in looking up. It's so simple, being only 3 panels, and I find it hilarious. I saw someone on Facebook comment on a picture that the 3 of you look great. There were 4 people in the picture. Every year on National Sibling Day, I post about my 2 great siblings. I have 3 siblings. Every other week or so I change which side my co-worker's drill's belt clip was on, 2 screws and 30 seconds for a maddening payout. Ike, if he ever caught on, as he sadly passed away last year. I got a huge kick out of doing it though. Might bring that one back, as most of us share the same brand of drill. He got a great one on me. Every day or two he'd hide a Magic the Gathering card in my toolbox, never the same spot twice. Genuinely made me mad when I picked something up only to see another card hidden beneath. Eventually I had enough cards to completely cover his locker door inner and outer. He never took them off. Even cut out cards to fit the vents on the locker. I spent a good hour or 2 on my day off making it. Proud of that one. R.I.P. Chris. Pranks haven't been the same since you left. Your locker still remains covered in Magic cards and nobody has questioned it to this day. That is so incredibly sweet. I'm glad you have such a great reminder of your friendship. Buy a set of voice-activated or motion-activated stickers from Amazon, and the possibilities are endless. I'm so getting these for the toilet at work. Say no pun intended after a sentence where there was clearly no pun. This meatloaf is amazing, Sharon, no pun intended. The movie theater in my town is usually mostly empty. There's been a couple of times when I've come in to get seated and there's literally only one other person in my auditorium. There's an evil part of me that wants to just go sit right next to them. Not illegal, but it should be. Do it, and start a conversation with a code like in old spy movies. The red ducks only fly at night. I'm a huge fan of just handing somebody something without any explanation and walking away. Someone at a big camping party once handed us a bottle of rum, didn't say anything or answer our questions, just handed it over and walked away. He was pretty pissed like 2 hours later when he came back for it and we had already drank it all. Lol. Look at their forehead, ear, or chin during the entire conversation. Call in sick to a place you don't work. At the deli, ask for the most human tasting meat they have. Go to the grocery store and ask for goma. You know, it's kind of red, and you put it on mayo sandwiches. Ask if they like your perfume and get them to smell your neck, wrist, ankle, or other body part. Don't actually be wearing any perfume. Tap them on the right shoulder when you're over their left shoulder. Get some every time, 50% of the time. Keep correcting them on the pronunciation of your name, even when they are saying it correctly every time. Nicolau Guy. It works best if you are standing, but use your judgment, gradually lower the volume of your voice. Others will match your volume and they tend to move closer. Wait for your moment and just start speaking in a normal or slightly louder than normal voice. My mother and grandmother do this, but the other way around. Every family get-together turns into them casually shouting across the room to each other. Shout at friends from far away, like at a concert, but gibberish. When they say, "What?" slowly, phonetically, repeat the gibberish. See how many times they ask, "What?" before either just agreeing, or if you get bored, just randomly go, "Okay." Liked you agreed to something. Hey Roy. Yeah. Have you Roddy the scan bake on triangle? What? Have you? Rod die. The scan bake on tri hang gull. What? The scan bake at all? Yes/no. What? Okay. I will, thanks. I have a hearing processing disorder, and this is how I hear normal words half the time. This one is harmless but occasionally can drive someone mad. My mom has a bunch of framed family photos hanging on a wall. One day I was visiting, I took them all down and scanned them with a little hand scanner. I photoshopped small changes on them, removed some people from some photos, added a couple of celebrities in the background, etc., print them out and replaced them a few days later. I can't forget her face when she realized it was me and she was not losing it. Another goodie is to change one of the pictures with some famous person. My favorite is to swap a picture of my sister with a picture of Kim Jong-un smiling. My neighbor got an expensive new camera for his front door. Randomly, for the last several months, I have covered myself in a black cloak, including face, crawled up into camera view, and left a random harmless object. A carrot, spool of thread, 3 ink pens with the caps mixed up, dumb meaningless things. On camera, a dark shape appears and disappears, leaving a random object behind. It is driving his silly ass crazy. You should start to make a pattern. Do only red objects or pick a theme like adhesives and stick to it for a month, then change it. I love mistakenly pronouncing words mid-sentence only to pronounce them correctly moments later. I see what you did there. When they ask what your favorite song or band is, tell them you don't like music. When they ask why, say because there are no pictures like movies and TV shows. I hate music, it's got too many notes, the replacements. When you shake someone's hand, move yours left to right. As they do the traditional up and down, a hilarious circle ensues. I can't believe I've never thought of this. Totally left/right handshaking from now on. When at work, tell someone, "I'm going to the bathroom, do you need anything?" One thing I do is when someone asks directions, I say something like, "If you take a left out of the parking lot, and go down to the light, then turn right, you'll be going the wrong direction." It's actually, give correct directions. Use landmarks that aren't there anymore or things only locals will know. Turn right where the big oak tree used to be, take the next road to the left after you pass the Flanders farm. Put up a lost and found poster for your lost fish. That's not so weird. They could have just driven off in their tank. Something I did in high school, I randomly found a half of a crayon on the ground. I managed to slip it into the pocket of a guy I knew. A few minutes later he discovered said crayon and rather loudly said "WTF?" and tossed it away. I wandered over, picked it up, and snuck it back into his pocket when he wasn't paying attention. A few minutes go by and he finds it again. Even more confused, he throws it again and wanders off. I managed to repeat the situation twice more before I couldn't stop laughing and he noticed me going to pick it up. He was really starting to question his sanity by the end. Other things you can do: fill a gas can with water and punch a hole in the bottom. Then walk down the street smoking a cigar, fill an inflate a date with helium and chase it down the street yelling "Come back you tramp." Fill a large mayonnaise jar with vanilla pudding and sit someplace eating it with a spoon. If you have tile floors, put your Pine Sol or whatever you mop with in a gas can. Make sure you do this with family or friends over. Ask a question and when they are a few words into answering, ask her. Duck you, Shorty. Edit, for PSA, hide something around their house. My weapon of choice was tiny rubber ducks. Open a drawer. Duck. I need a spoon. Duck. Lovely picture of their wedding with a nice frame. Duck on top. Charging box. Duck. Bubble bath. Duck. Seldom used shoes. Duck. Winter coat pocket they won't use for months. Duck. It's ducking delightful how much mileage you can get out of tiny ducks. PSA, be extremely cautious in the case of households containing animals and small children. Both like putting little things in their mouths and other orifices, so might be best to avoid ducking these individuals / ensuring things are definitely out of reach. My former boss did this. The bonus was that if you were the first person of the shift to find one, you got a $5 Starbucks card. It made work a bit more fun. When someone asks for the time, excuse me, do you know what time it is? Yes. Yes what? Yes, sir. Yes. I also like the response of you mean now. I was talking with a supervisor and I happened to have like 4 hard-boiled eggs in my jacket pocket for lunch. So while talking with stuff, I took out an egg, cracked and shelled it and ate it. The conversation kept going, so I did it again, but I could see he was growing quizzical. I waited a few more minutes, pulled out another and ate that too. By then I could tell he was like WTF. The conversation was wrapping up, so I pulled the last one out and he stopped mid-conversation and asked me, "How many sking eggs do you have?" I just shrugged, shelled, and then ate the last egg. If someone asks for your name, saying something like Jack, but with only one P. It's Dave, but without the F, there's no F in Dave, I know, that's what I said. I put a tiny piece of masking tape over my coworker's mouse laser on April Fool's Day one year, wrote April Fools on it. He troubleshot every single thing except examining the mouse. He eventually called IT, who simply turned the mouse over and pointed it out to him. Now plug in a second mouse, leave it under their desk but so you can reach it with your foot. Kick it occasionally. I have a secondary remote that my kids don't know about. Sometimes I'll stand out of sight, and turn up the volume or hit back when they select something to watch. It's pretty funny. Smart TV can do this with the phone. Can control the lights. I may have convinced my kids I have magical powers. When someone knocks on the public washroom door you are in, respond with "come in." I like asking if they have a warrant. My father prefers to ask if they're ready to answer these, my riddles 3. Say, never mind when someone interrupts you. It will make them more curious about what you wanted to say. Works really well with my siblings. I mess with colleagues during meetings by controlling how they sit. You copy everything they do to start, they lean back, you lean back, etc. Then, slowly, take the lead. If they are sitting back, sit forwards. I have managed to start mini Mexican waves of people moving back and forth in meetings. My dad used to have this game with a friend. They embarrassed me endlessly when I was a teen, but that was a bonus. Basically, when they were walking in the street, whenever they were passing someone, they would say things like, "Remember, when you pushed your mother-in-law down the stairs?" Or I mean, it wasn't that much drug, usually I carry way more than that. Or where did you hide the knife after stabbing him? You get the idea, anything absolutely awful, as if they were having an entire conversation about drugs, murder, whatever. My dad and his friend had the whole hippie look as well, so innocent passers-by would quickly cross the street. Sometimes when you do online quizzes they'll ask for an email to send the results to. I like to put random people that I know instead, but I used to join the most random or embarrassing Facebook pages just so I could send people invites to join. When someone is talking to you, look right over top of their head. Keep the conversation going but look right over them. In high school at track practice we stole one of our friend's car keys. It was old enough it didn't have a chip inside. We drove to Home Depot and got a copy made and returned his keys. Every day at practice we would move his car to a different parking spot but in the same lot. Mail someone a red golf ball every week for a while. Then mail them a green golf ball and stop. Don't turn around when you walk into a lift. Conversely, turn around too much. Just stand in the corner and rotate 90 degrees every 4-5 or so. When having a conversation during a meal, specifically only ask questions to people that are chewing. ETA, I was never a server, but had this taught to me by a dear friend of mine years ago when we used to eat in a public cafeteria and mess with people we just met. Love this one. It's on the verge of being rude but it's so subtle people will assume you just lack awareness. Whenever I visit my extended family across the country, I bring a bag full of random remotes that I don't use anymore. Just random remotes that go to old DVRs or anything really. Just hide them around their house. They only recently caught on? Opset harmless. That's the devil's work. If I know someone is walking a little ways behind me and I turn a corner with nobody else around, I like to run 10 to 20 steps to widen the gap and then laugh to myself thinking that the person behind me will be confused. I doubt anyone ever notices, but I get a kick out of it every time. I do this shit Lamau. I know someone who always takes an item to a party and leaves it somewhere in the house, a trinket / tchotchke. My aunt fills her medicine cabinet with ping pong balls whenever she has a party. After giving a compliment, say no offense and watch them struggle to find the non-existent insult. I love this idea, no offense.